Hey y'all, this is Jeremiah, pastor at Centennial ARP. Thanks for tuning in for today's video devotional. One verse, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 15, a huge truth today. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. The world would tell you that this proverb is backwards. So when you read about the fool says that he's right in his own eyes. In other words, you might say that the fool here in Proverbs is confident, right? And that is a quality that we love to be exhibiting in our culture. It's what we look for in candidates for any position. It's what we need, right, when we go into an interview or when we seek to qualify for X, Y, Z, A, B, or C, right? And then you see a wise man listening to advice. Well, if you need advice, though, I guess really you probably don't know how to do whatever it is that you're saying you're qualified to do. If you need advice, then what have we hired you for? If you need advice, why would I want you to be doing it if I'm the one who can tell you, right? But there is a deeper spiritual reality here, one that is so vital for Christians today and truly for the whole world. And it's this reality that the way of the fool is right in his own eyes, and that the wise man listens to advice. When we believe ourselves confident, the Apostle Paul says, be careful, you're about to fall flat on your face. The wise one is humble enough to realize that even with all the wisdom procured from years, from learning, from experience, from the school of hard knocks, all of these things, wisdom really bears itself out in humility. Because what all of those things help the wise one to see is that the wise one truly knows not nothing, but not everything, right? And so receiving advice is not missing the bar or missing the mark. Receiving advice is being humble enough to realize that you can always grow in whatever path it is that we're talking about: career, spiritual, academic, familial, like family, relationship, et cetera, right? We can kind of bear that out in whatever relationship or whatever piece we're looking at. But that's where wisdom bears out. Wisdom bears out in humility. And we see that in the Lord Jesus. As Jesus, he came onto this planet, right? So he's God. And God knows everything, okay? Of all the people in the world, God doesn't need any advice, right? But Jesus, he comes to earth and he puts on flesh, right? That's what the kind of reality, right? That Jesus, he is God. He puts on flesh. He takes on humanity. And so now Jesus is fully God and fully man, and he's living this perfect life, not being God, right? But not acting like God. Okay? The reality is that in his humanity, he's revealing this very proverb, that the way of the fool is right in his own eyes, and a wise man listens to advice. And so Jesus goes very humble through this life, revealing to his disciples, revealing to the church, revealing to all who would see and believe that this is the way of righteousness, and that it takes true Spirit-led humility to be a true Spirit-led believer, a true follower of Christ. Because what is belief and what is salvation but a recognition that we cannot do it on our own? That all of our confidence, if we had all the confidence in the entire world, we would still never meet the mark of perfection that we need for salvation. And what does Jesus do? He lives the perfect life that we couldn't do. He dies the sacrificial death that we desperately needed, and he rises again from the dead, defeating death, and then going up to reign and rule supreme at the right hand of God the Father, and pray for you, and pray for me, and pray for all of those who would believe, all of those that are in his family, that we might be followers of God, humble. And as we live in humility, our wisdom bears out as we receive advice and grow even more into the wise and righteous followers of God that we were always meant to be. Dear Christian, today, are you wise enough to receive advice, or is your foolish tendency bearing itself out in pride that looks like confidence, but actually is just you setting yourself up for destruction? Think on these things and be blessed today.